1981.
I can't tell you anything about this because I haven't heard who they are, what they are.
They say now they're going to take a tougher stance on priests who have committed sexual abuse.
Who runs this diocese? Is it you or is it Terry and Lawler?
The 7 News I-Team spent decades investigating the Catholic Diocese of Buffalo for failing to protect children and engaging in the cover-up of child sex abuse. New tonight, you'll hear from a survivor.
It's been surreal. A lot has happened.
An attorney.
It's crucial because victims will not feel alone.
And the former bishops themselves.
These were dumb things to do. I admit that.
Because as the I-Team learned, October's settlement by the diocese and the New York Attorney General's lawsuit does not necessarily mean a new era of transparency. In a story you'll see only on 7 News, the diocese spent thousands in a failed attempt to prevent you and the I-Team from seeing new documents and video obtained in the Attorney General's investigation.
As I've said, since becoming bishop in January of 2021, it's not what we say, but what we do.
What the bankrupt Buffalo Diocese has done is pay lawyers attempting to keep documents from the state Attorney General's investigation secret. The day following the diocese settlement with the Attorney General, we submitted a Freedom of Information Law request to the state of New York, requesting documents and video the AG's office obtained from the diocese through its investigation. Both the diocese and former bishops were given the opportunity to explain why the state should not release them to the I-Team. The Attorney General's office received requests from lawyers representing both former bishops Richard Malone, Edward Grosh, and the diocese. I find your arguments unpersuasive as they pertain to records for which you claimed confidentiality, an Assistant Attorney General wrote in a denial letter to Dennis Vacco, himself a former Attorney General of New York who now represents the bishops. Accordingly, I am releasing all the responsive records for which Bishops Malone and Grosh have asserted trade secrets. A lawyer representing the diocese from Jones Day filed a similar request to the state. The disclosure of records would, quote, severely disrupt the stakeholders' negotiations in the bankruptcy case and cause substantial injury to the diocese as it tries to achieve a resolution. But both the state and stakeholders we spoke with disagree.
It would enhance the bankruptcy negotiations. It would provide evidence that the Diocese of Buffalo is trying to hide. It would provide evidence that would help clergy sexual abuse victims try to heal and maybe help the victims, the committee and the Diocese of Buffalo reach an agreement.
Attorney Mitch Garabedian, who was portrayed in Best Picture Spotlight, represents dozens of Buffalo area sex abuse survivors. How important is it for the public and the survivors to be able to finally see all of these secret files?
Oh, it is crucial. It's crucial because transparency helps victims try to heal with that information. It's crucial because victims will not feel alone.
It took me a while to get to this point, but I'm not afraid of it. I want to let my voice be heard.
We met with abuse survivor Michael Whalen on Good Friday, in the same spot where his 2018 press conference sparked scandal in the diocese.
It's amazing that Fisher and all the bishops before him have all said that they'll be more transparent, that we're all family, but yet here we are 5 years later, and there's more secrecy now than ever before. It's still the same game plan.
The diocese's attempt to block the release wasn't finished. Lawler Quinlan, who represents the diocese alongside Terry Connor, submitted an appeal to the state. He argued the, quote, disclosure of certain documents would cause substantial injury to the diocese's competitive position, and such disclosure would require a lot of redacting. The AG's office fired back in a final denial of the appeal, writing, quote, individuals claiming to have suffered sexual abuse are not competitors of the diocese.
Competitors of what? For the truth, competitors for transparency. I came forward right here 5 years ago, told my story about the pain and the suffering and the disgrace that I felt that happened to me from a priest.
Despite repeated attempts and requests, Bishop Fisher would not agree to an interview with the I-Team. Through financial disclosures made public through its bankruptcy, the I-Team calculated over $35,000 was spent by the diocese fighting disclosure, including for the request submitted by the I-Team. It also paid thousands of dollars to the Tucker Group for communications planning regarding the release of AG testimony of Bishops Malone and Grosh to the I-Team.
What is swearing winter?
It's winter 2019. The former bishops sit down and give sworn testimony to the Attorney General's team separately while flanked by their attorney.
I'll be very blunt. These were dumb things to do. I admit that.
For the first time, we hear directly from the former bishops regarding their mishandling of abuse cases. Interviews of both bishops focused heavily on Father Art Smith, who was the focus of an I-team investigation into the diocese. In 2011, Smith caused a controversy when he sent a Facebook message using the words "love you" to an 8th grade boy. He was suspended while parishioners were told that he was taking a medical leave. Bishop Malone returned Smith to ministry, where he was further accused of touching 2 young men while ministering in a nursing home. Malone would then write Smith a glowing letter of recommendation for the apostleship of the Sea Cruise Service, allowing him to be a priest on cruises. But all the way back in 2004, Auxiliary Bishop Grosch was made aware that Smith was accused of assaulting another member of the church. Grosch, who described himself as the diocese point man on abuse cases, downplayed his knowledge of Smith's alleged sexual assault of then seminarian Richard Biernat. Father Richard would later become a key whistleblower in the I-team's investigation into the crisis in Buffalo.
I learned about the incident when somebody showed it to me on an iPhone that he was on Channel 7 News and what it involved, which was news to me.
What did you hear him saying on television?
That this is a crime, this is terrible. That's all. I happened to turn it on when that happened to be on Channel 7.
Bishop Grosch claimed that all he knew of the incident prior to the 2019 I-team report was that Smith, quote, walked into the room and tried to get into bed with him, period. That's it. However, handwritten notes by Bishop Grosch obtained by the AG's office show that he was aware of a, quote, allegation attempted sexual abuse by Father Art Smith in 2004.
That was so hurtful, so difficult. That meeting, I thought destroyed my life for years. It sent me into depression, into anxiety attacks. This was only my 2nd year in a foreign country. I did not know the laws here, and I was turning to church for help. And then they re-victimized me again.
A 2015 document Bishop Malone sent to the Vatican also confirmed Father Richard's account of the incident.
This is my mistake. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done as a bishop, was to sign that good standing letter for Smith, thinking again it was within that rubric of a very limited ministry and stuff. But thank God nothing came, came from that. But it was stupid.
Testimony from the bishops in these interviews helped form the basis of the AG's lawsuit against the diocese.
Such important work here, Sean. Another remarkable look behind the curtain. How long did it take to put all of this together?
It took nearly 2 years, but I'm just glad that after all this time that not only the survivors can see these documents, but you as well at home can as well.
Yeah, very important, yes.
Heartbreaking information there as well.
Well
Good
done.
work. Thank you so much. The investigation continues on our website, and there you can see for yourself all of these documents that the I-team has worked so hard to obtain. You'll find this story on the front page of WKBW.com.
New developments from the 7 News I-team's investigation into the Buffalo Catholic Diocese. We have obtained a letter written by Bishop Michael Fisher referencing our reports that the church covered up sexual abuse allegations. I-team producer Sean Mickey spoke with survivors of this abuse who disagree with the bishop's new message.
Last week, the I-team exposed a failed attempt by the diocese to keep documents and testimony from the Attorney General's investigation secret, spending tens of thousands of dollars in that failed effort. We've since obtained this new letter written by Bishop Fisher, addressed to "My dear friends," downplaying the I-team's findings and claiming the details recounted will be a source of further pain for survivors. But survivors we spoke with disagree.
So keeping this on the forefront is super important to us. Because obviously, without having the media to voice this, our voices don't resonate the way that it can through the media.
Wayne Bortle is a former Western New Yorker who filed the Child Victims Act lawsuit against the diocese, accusing Father Robert Conlon of abuse. He particularly disagrees with one sentence from the bishop that reads, quote, "It continues to be my highest priority to work toward the healing of those who have been harmed."
It couldn't be further from the truth. The only thing that is going to help us heal is closure. We want this settled. We want transparency.
For the I-team, Sean Mickey, 7 News.
And you can see the complete report here in the investigation into the Buffalo Diocese, available at WKBW.com. You can also see for yourself all of the documents that the I-team has obtained. You'll find the story on the front page of WKBW.com. It's there right now.